All right, everybody. Yep, you are not seeing things. We ain't no delusion. We switched DMs. Jim is somewhere out in the middle of nowhere. We don't know where Jim is. This is my actual first D&D 5e game with these guys. They've been doing. I've been playing, so I decided to run for a while. Let's see. I got Caleb. I'm not even the other person. Mike and Matt. Oh yeah, and Eric. So y'all go ahead and we'll get this sucker started.
Sweet. Yeah. So my name is Caleb. I'm excited for Clyde. Yeah. So I'm ready to get into this. I will be playing Enoch Malloy.
Well, my name is Skewer, and I like to hit things. I've been a soldier since what I can remember, and I've been told about this new place where I've not been before, and so here I am, right?
And I am Mike, and I will be playing Sved Martin, a fighter.
So I guess that leads me to the last. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am currently the... allow me to introduce myself correctly. I am the Pied Piper to kings and queens. I am the destroyer of darkness, and I am the bane to all evil, known to the common folks of around Galvany as their champion. But you may call me just simply Ark.
Oh, alrighty. So we will set this off through there's the night with a heavy fog hangs low in the Ulvenwald woods. There is 3 wagons plopping along the road. Up front is a rather large man named Igor. Doesn't really talk much, kind of salt and peppered, big heavy set dude riding, driving the one wagon. Who would be setting up next to him and describe your character?
I'll set up there with him. Setting up next to Igor is a very refined gentleman, straightened back, engraving breastplate with a long goldish blue cloak. Blue cloak with gold etchings on it, not bluish gold. There's no such color. Pretty much keeping Igor company, trying to get him to talk because I have a feeling he's not very talkative. Got resting a great home on his lap, sort of dark brown, almost black hair. I think chestnut's the color. Chestnut brown hair. Trying to get Igor to talk.
Igor, when you talk, he just no. He doesn't give you can click that Igor is not a man of refinement. He's just here to do a job. To the left of Igor, walking alongside the wagon, is a tall, lithe woman with black hair, very pale, dressed in dark leather with a blue, almost cyan colored cape. You know her as Eva. She's one of the guards that has signed on with this. Who would be walking to the left of the wagon?
That would be Trollsinger, otherwise known as Skewer. He is just over 6 foot. He is muscled and somewhat lithe. He is he's big, but is not built like a house, and he is carrying a pike that is taller than he is, and he is carrying it with quite some ease. He has a backpack on, and he seems well accustomed to travel and to the forest, and moves not with grace at all, but with determination and with rhythm. He definitely marches when he moves, and he is basically just wearing leathers, and most of these look like hides. Actually, most of it is it's animal pelts that have been, hastily, stitched together, and there's there's dried blood all over his leathers from previous battles. And what more can I say? He's got dark, leathery brown skin. In fact, if one was to look at him, if he was not moving, he would actually blend in very well to a forest area, because his skin is actually like this dark brown that almost looks like bark. It's kind of very odd, and it's got that fur, like his beard is like that furry texture that you see on some barks as well. So if he was to stand very, very still without his clothes on, perhaps he would blend into the underbrush. But as it is, he's walking alongside the caravan.
Okay. Between the second one is a carriage, like the old West or Victorian era carriage. It has 4 large draft horses that are draped in like leather, dark leather covering to kind of protect them from being attacked. The driver and the bowyer that's sitting next to him are watching as y'all are passing along. There's 4 other guards that are walking alongside. This is where y'all's patron, Vax Renato. That's where he spends most of his time when y'all are not setting up camp. The third wagon is not as heavily laden with goods as the first one is. It's got a couple of draft horses, but they're not protected. Sitting on it is a very tall, wiry-looking man that you came to know as Boris. And Boris is a very talkative sort. But if you talk about books, you seem to have Boris's attention. But if you are talking about something else, you've kind of lost him. There's who would be sitting next to Boris?
I think Sved's definitely going to be sitting next to Boris. Something that you would know shortly after traveling with Sved is that he has an interest in books. He can't read particularly well, but he associates them with wealth, and he aims to collect books wherever he can find them. So he's there getting any information, maybe see if he can get a book or 2 off of our friendly patron here?
Well, I could give you a couple of my books, but I have written in them. I rewrote the ending. I don't like the way they write the ending. I can't write the books, but when I read them, I think of endings for them. So I rewrite them. So if you want them, you can have them. But there's not going to be the ending that the author wanted. It's my ending.
Sved, a kind of pale-skinned man, a little large, but not trying to be intimidating, kind of turns up his nose at this idea. Maybe noticing that the script is kind of scrawled and doesn't look as nice as the rest of the book. Thinks he's devalued it by cutting out the endings. Sved's got a visible scar coming up out from under his shirt, which you wouldn't think is possible, but it is paler than the rest of his skin. It's a very distinct scar. He's just doesn't want anything to do with these edited books.
Well, he sees your disdain for it, and he just kind of shrugs and sticks them back into his coat. Boris is not armored, so he doesn't carry any weapons. His coat he wears seems to be smattered with ink and laden with like books and maybe a few homemade pouches for ink that is not doing very well. He's got some stains where the ink has kind of leaned over and started draining out onto his coat. Still moving along the forest. Even during the daytime, the sun doesn't peek through the Ulvenwald, or maybe the Ulvenwald fights against the sunlight. So it's kind of like always a perpetual darkness, where there is times where the light creeps in. It's very few and far between, and even when they do, it seems like the wood shuts it out. Just the wood in general hates sunlight. The only time that you can actually you can hear that the sound, not the sound, but it's starting to get dark, is when you start hearing the night birds, and even everything seems to be on edge. It doesn't really sound really cheerful as you're walking around or walking along the road or just watching. You see every once in a while you'll see animals. You'll see some that are kind of unnatural even to this world. But you are still moving along when you come to this area, big clearing that has these 4 stone pillars, and each one of these big stone pillars carries the symbol of the Church of Avacyn. And y'all have seen these marks before, because this is the only reason why y'all are still on the road. These are places that are called solace. That's where. Wait, no, Caleb didn't. I'm sorry, Caleb. I was sitting there keeping count. Okay, so backing up, because I thought with Igor, there is a guard on the right, and then there seems to be a place in the front and back and left and right of it. The wagon seems to be going with this theme. They have 4 guards up front, 4 guards in the middle. Who would be standing at the front, left, or right, or back, whichever way you want to be of this wagon?
Sitting probably on the the same way that someone might sit on the tailgate of a truck. Enoch is at the back of the wagon, kind of with his feet dangling and off the side as they roll over, and he's sort of riding with the goods, as it were. Enoch is a small guy, pretty lean, slender. He perpetually has a very closely shaved sort of undercut into a top knot. Otherwise clean shaven. Of note, he's got some sort of knee-high strapped leather boots with some just sort of loose pants that get tucked into him. He has a leather jacket that has fur kind of sticking out from underneath. He is not wearing a t-shirt or any shirt underneath it. He kind of lets that flow loosely. He's in great shape, obviously. Duh. Probably the only other thing is the sleeves of this jacket. He has pushed up towards his elbows, and about halfway up his forearm, he is cloth wrapped around down through his wrists and all the way into his hands, sort of almost covering fingers, but he's got sort of the fingertips sticking out. But yeah, he's kind of just got his arm up on the side and his legs are kind of swinging, and he would just kind of be looking out backwards.
Okay. Now that we got that little mishap out the way, the wagons keep plopping along the road. You can see as you're walking, because you're behind, you're paying more attention. Every once in a while you see like a shadow run across runs from tree to tree, like they're following you. You can't really tell what it is, but you see it and then it's gone. They all look different shadows, but they don't ever come towards the road. They just go, you see them, and then they just dissipate like smoke.
These woods that we're in, what area or region would you say we are in?
You would just be passing out of Ninfala into close to Kessig. This caravan is actually going to Averbrook.
Yeah, so I think Enoch, with his arm, every once in a while, that's kind of what he's doing, is he's following whatever it is that's moving. As the closer and closer that they get, he kind of just would think to himself that there are likely far more dangerous things awaiting ahead to worry the rest of the caravan about what's going on back here. So he would keep it to himself.
Okay. So y'all come to the aforementioned stones before I was reminded that I'm skipping people. These stones are, in times past, they were actually empowered by some of the rune chanters of the Church of Avacyn to actually keep certain evils at bay. And caravans or merchants would come and gather at these places to have some. If you can't make it to a city, this offers some. It's like having some protection is better than none. So these the wagons are turning off onto the road. The clearing is like maybe 30 to 35 feet of just cleared out wood and stone, with a big fire pit in the middle. As they're pulling the wagons in, Boris, they kind of make a semicircle with Boris being behind, Igor in the front. Igor gets off, and you see him start unhitching the wagon so that the draft horses will be away from the edge and bringing them in. Your patron actually makes his own. When it stopped, he opens the door. He's a big barrel-chested like man. Maybe he looks like he has seen the sea. He has spent a long time at sea or what. He's got tattoos along his left forearm. His beard is big and bushy. He's got streaks of gray in it in his weather-beaten face. But he's just walking around and watching everybody get their stuff together, and getting the the horses into the center. And he, every once in a while, he pulls out this little pouch and starts fiddling with it before he finally opens it and starts packing a pipe. And he, come on, boys, heave ho, heave ho. And all the other guards start moving some of the stuff off of the wagon, so nothing would actually be grabbed at. So what are y'all doing?
Well, Trollsinger would be helping as much as he could. He would carry some of the biggest and heaviest pieces of whatever's there, crates, whatever, and he wouldn't speak a lot. He would just stand there and lend a hand and take stuff to wherever it needed to be. He wouldn't be particularly gentle, but he's not like throwing things around. So perhaps they wouldn't entrust him with like a ceramic box, but they would entrust him with like linens and foodstuffs and whatever else that's not going to be smashed. With his rough but not uncaring way that he has, but he would just wordlessly work away with unpacking and any other menial duties.
Enoch, go ahead, Eric. Sorry.
No, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
All right. Enoch kind of swings his legs and then hops down off the back of the wagon that he's on, and he takes a scroll case off from around that he was wearing over his shoulder and kind of sits it in the back. And he takes a few steps sort of backwards the way that they came. And he's being pretty nonchalant about it. He's kind of just looking out and looking, kind of scanning from the directions that they came. Just trying to make sure, since it feels like maybe since they've slowed down a little bit, he wants to make sure that if there is something out there, that it doesn't become a bigger threat. But he's just sort of kind of placed himself on a patrol on the rear side here.
Okay. Well, Ark will once the wagons come to a stop and everyone starts doing what they do, he hops off the wagon, kind of putting his swords from his X'd on his back down to around his hips. He looks around, seeing what helping wherever he needs to be helping. And after a while, he pretty much just gets tired of grunt work and he sits down. And he then looks to the wagon he was on with Igor, walks over there, grabs his backpack, which has a long wooden like spoon. It would be like almost like a giant size spoon. He takes his lute and he sits down and he just starts strumming a tune. Something, just something work related.
All right, Sved, I think. How well known did you say that these pillars were? Am I to understand that there are multiple sets of these around?
Yeah, there's 4 of them. Said not.
I mean, is this like a common thing?
Oh yeah.
In the last set that we found.
Yeah, this is.
I think Sved's just going to be examining the pillars, just kind of running his fingers over the runes and kind of just soaking it in.
Okay, the pillars have held up to the time, and it doesn't seem like nothing ever really phases them. You can see the woods around has started to overtake places where people may have been trying to build campsites and all that. The woods can't seem to penetrate into this area. It's not. You don't know really. I don't know if you have magical stuff, but whatever keeps these pillars powered has been doing it for a very long time. You can feel, even at the touch, they kind of feel warm, like stone that's been heated by the sun. The people are getting to get together. They take the wood and the stuff that they can find around the oven wall without having to go too deep into it, and have started to build a pillar, build a big pyre for lighting. And it doesn't get too far into it before you hear "Hello in the camp," and the people and the guards turn with their weapons kind of ready, because this place is still has every once in a while will have bandits. And there's a tall man, gray and black hair, more gray than black, with this little pencil thin mustache and a little track of a beard. He says, "Hello in the camp. We seek solace. Would you share?" And Bax steps forward. What is it? He says, "Zorbor, is that you?" Yeah. Bax? He's like, can we have solace with you? This is the last one. You still owe me money. He's like, "I will give you a chance to win it back." And he motions for them to come in, and their wagons are a little better kept than Bax keeps his. You can see Zorbor has taken very good care of his stuff, and his guards are even more well armed than Bax is. Bax is a cheapskate, it seems. And they all gather together. Bax and Zorbor leave everybody to their devices as Zorbor gives the commands for them to start gathering their stuff off and putting it the same way Bax is doing. And the guards are kind of mingling with one another. The one of Zorbor's who looks like they're the one that's in charge is a very tall woman, very heavy set, dark skin with black hair that's braided, with this bear cape that has these antlers, and she's got this big hound next to her, and she is barking orders at the men, and they seem to jump when she says jump, and they getting all the stuff together. And when everything is said and done, and all the guards have started to make the changes, and y'all can mingle, one of the guards, he's kind of littler than the rest of them. That says, "So, who wants to play who shall we play games? I see faces that I've never seen before." He's sitting there clicking his fingers like he's trying to think of something. Anyone up for a game?
Yeah, Enoch will hear this, and he's kind of looks around and feeling comfortable with the protection that these stones seem to give, would walk over, and he would kind of approach the man and cross his arms.
"My name is Ayers. What is your name, friend? And do you know how to play skipstone?"
I am unfamiliar. What is skipstone?
It's an easy game. Nothing to it. We will dig some pits, and you will try to skip your rocks over these little pits and hit the arc stone. And he pulls out this little circular disc about as big as round as his hand, and there's like painted. It looks like kind of like darts, but it's made with stone. He's like, "If you get the bullseye, you win." Is this care to play?
Enoch kind of reaches out and takes the stone, and he looks at it. We skip the stone, and we hit the bullseye. And he kind of points at like just a random rock that's kind of in the area. Is this the bullseye?
Yes, the stone that you have. You have to make it through that little hole, and you can see the hole that's inside it is slightly smaller. It's about the size of a $50, maybe a silver dollar. And he's like, if you can get it through that hole, he's like, you automatically win. He's like, but I be fair warned. He's like, not many people get it through this hole.
And he kind of looks at the hole again, and he looks sort of out woodward on both directions, and he hands it back and says, "Who will be digging?"
We both can if you don't trust me.
It is just a game. I can dig. Where?
Well, he walks and he sets the stone up against one of the pillars, and he counts. He takes 3 paces away from them, and he starts dropping. He starts placing other stones. He's like, "We will dig here where these stones are, and you have to skip the rock over it. And if you hit the bullseye, if you can make it through the bullseye, you win. But whoever gets closer to the bullseye is the winner. But if you get into it, you automatically win." He's like, "Maybe we'll try it one time for free, and then when you're comfortable, we will pay with money."
Yeah, Enoch walks over to the first little area. Are there like tools for digging? Is there a shovel somewhere?
He basically just starts pulling his dagger out. The ground doesn't seem to be very hard. And he just, digging until he pulls out a big handful, and it has to only be that deep, and he just throws the dirt.
Yeah, Enoch kind of sees the size of the hole, and he would scoop the dirt with his hand and sort of sit it just off to the side, and do that until it matches roughly the width and depth of the hole.
So after all that's said and done, he takes all the stones, then he takes his sack out, and he pours some into his hand, and there's about 8 rocks in there, very smooth, polished stones, and they of different color. He's like, blue or green?
Green, please.
And he hands you the green ones, and he takes the blue ones, and he walks. He says, "So you go first." He's like, "So you have to skip past all of these. You have to skip past all of these stones in order to get there."
So yeah, Enoch kind of takes one of these stones in hand, and not fully understanding, maybe would try like a backhand frisbee type throw.
Roll dexterity with disadvantage.
That is a 12.
So you pop it over the first hole. It skips over the first hole, and it gets into the third. And when it hits, it rings off of the third hole and drops into the fourth one. Is that it seems like you didn't get it over there. He takes it, and he holds it like he's fixing to skip it across the lake, and he flings it. And yeah, he boasted too much. It skips into the first hole and drops down. He's like, well, maybe I shouldn't talk so big about what I'm going to do. He says, shall we keep going, or would you like
more.
to put some? He's like, how about we make it interesting? He sets a couple of copper coins on. He says, I believe I can get further than you do.
He kind of reaches into one of the pockets on his jacket and would pull out a little sack. He would open it up, and there's not a lot of jingling going on inside of it, but he does pull out 2 of them, and they're 2 copper. And he says, now what? And he kind of sets them on top of the ones you laid down.
Okay. Just 1 minute. Trosinger, and Arcadian. You're standing there. Y'all are standing watch, or like you said, playing, and you're helping. And Trosinger, you see something move closer to the camp than before, and you see another movement, and it's like this whole massive movement, and also you see the shadow just lunge out, and whether luck or skill, you grab your pike and you sling it, and you hear this sickening crack like you would if you was to pop a coconut. And this little creature hits the ground. It looks almost like a humanoid insect, but it doesn't have no eyes or a mouth. And it's got long, spindly arms that end in this weird hook. These 2 big, like hook little appendages. And you're able to mouth the words when you see this large swarm of them start coming out of the woods, with these slightly larger ones coming in behind them. We shall roll initiative.
Sure. I've got my dice over there. 1 second.
Well,
Am I close enough that I should be rolling initiative 2 here? Or
yeah,
should I just-
Trosiger and Arcadian will actually be able to actually raise an alarm, but once you hear the sickening pop of this creature, it's pretty obvious. I had a pencil. I swear I did.
rolls off right. Caleb?
Huh?
And Caleb are starting these rolls off right.
Yeah.
Hot start.
Hey, it makes up for it. Covers the fact of of me skipping you in the opening credits.
One of these D20s has got to be weighted in my favor. I'm sure of it. They're all cheap. One of them's got to be off in the right way.
I did not, Eric. I need your initiative.
Give me 1 second. I'm bringing up the roller. Okay. 13.
Okay.
I'm on 14.
Well, I think that. Oh yeah, that's a little better than the enemies. So after you swing your the glaive or pike and crack this other one, you can see more of them coming. The slightly larger ones look like plant and skeleton fused together. Their hands seem to wobble as they're moving. Their whole body seems to do like this wobbling motion as they're coming towards y'all. And it's like this large mass of them. There's people like the other guards, you see them have started to fight and push off some of these creatures, and there's some of them that have actually some of them are covered in them as these little hook creatures are just hooked into them, trying to tear and pull them down. So it is you start us off.
All right. So, given that there's a whole swarm of these, knowing that there's other guards and fighters, obviously, Trollsinger basically bolsters himself. He bangs the butt end of the pike on the ground, sets it, and he's going to. He sees that there's small ones and there's big ones. And I guess what his initial reaction would be is to see if he can move far enough to get to one of those big ones as they're in the back. I don't know how far the ones in the back are away from the ones in the front. So what are the distances so that I can just get it in my head?
It looks like okay, you have a mob of the little ones, and they're moving. And the larger ones are they're in the middle of it. It's like they're moving as just like one giant black mob.
Right. Yep.
Gnashing hooks and claws.
Excellent.
So you can move to get within striking distance of any of them.
Ah, sweet. Yeah. So he'll move up, and. Basically, will as he's moving, he throws one of his hands, sort of comes up and sweeps sort of across the ground, but at a height of about 2 feet or whatever, so that he's not like bending down, but his arm sort of sweeps along the ground, and as he does, some underbrush starts to curl up off the ground and towards his hand, and it starts to grow thorns, and the thorns and the vine sort of reach his hand, and then his hand sort of comes up to touch his pike, and the thorns wrap around his pike about 5 times until they get to the end, and then all of the thorns sort of bend, and they're going in the direction that the pike is going, and he's going to just slam his pike. And his aim will be to hit one of the big ones, but being that it's a big blob, maybe it's going to be hard to get there, but he's going to try. So is there any negative or anything to trying to hit one of the big ones? And I'll just roll my dice here as we go.
No, they're moving within them, but they're still, it looks like a big blob, but it's not like something that's going to, they don't seem like they're shielding, or they're even using these little ones as shield. It just seems like they're all trying to rush to beat the other one to get to me.
All right, so 16 will be the dice roll there.
Give me a damage.
All right, so I've basically cast Hunter's Mark with that description, and it's going to be on this big one. So 7 for that, and my pike. So it's a total of 18 points of damage.
So, how do you want to take down this? How do you want to kill him? How you want to do it?
So as the pike sort of just plunges in, these thorns that grew basically just pincer in, grab, basically bursting the big one. And what Trollsanger does is he just basically lifts his pike up in one sort of sweep, and the creature is up in the air on his pike, and it's just like, who, we fight. And that's his turn.
So you're sitting there shaking this thing, like, and as you're shaking it, it's like the thorns are tearing into it, and like whatever innards is in this thing starts to drip along it, like this thick black ooze covering the pike and some of your hands and all that. And it's still trying to get a hold of you. You can see its hands actually can extend out, but it's like it's almost like it can't see you. It's just blindly lashing out at whatever it could lash out at, and then it just goes limp, and you toss it down. And you can some of the little bitty things actually, when they feel it hit the ground, you can actually see them start tearing at it. Like it doesn't seem like they're discerning a friend or a foe. It's just meat is meat. Okay. Arcadian, you are next.
With seeing that his one of his that combat seems to be inevitable here, he uses this time to put his loot down, jumps up, and runs towards the nearest one.
Oh, these things kind of erupted out. It's like they are coming at y'all from all sides. It's like this just thick with these little old bitty black creatures trying to get to whoever they can get to.
Oh. He sits there and he thinks for a moment, and he looks towards all of them that's been. Does it seem like anything's attracting them? Like, or are they just attacking at random?
it seems that they are attracted to the large buffet that has parked itself within this.
We got to move the buffet. So he makes a mad dash towards one of them, and I'm going to slice and dice it, or attempt to anyway.
What are you going for, little one or a big one?
Big one.
Okay.
Ain't going after no small fry.
Okay, well, hold on. We'll go. Oh, where'd it go? You having to get closer. Well, you see, as you start to close it, it swings its arm out at you, but you duck out of it, and it comes back. It comes back like it's kind of stitched to its plant body, and the stitch is extended out and then came back. So what is yours?
Okay, my tags on it is a 19 and an 18.
Oh yeah, that hits.
And that's a short sword. Well, not a short sword, a scimitar and an offhand scimitar. The total damage is 13. Let's see, 13 plus 4, 17 points of demolish.
How do you want to disembowel it?
Well, when he gets up to it, he kind of stabs it, and he kind of cuts it right between the stitching. And he goes, "Oh, you're going to need a doctor after that one."
Oh yeah, when your blades hit into that stitching and actually separate it out, the same thing as what you saw Trosiger doing when he was sitting there shaking it like a rattle or maybe a pinata. All the ghibli bits come out, and since you're closer to it, your blade and arm are covered in this black, oily, viscous ooze.
Oh, that is not gonna do.
And being shook awake from his sleep during combat, we will have, is it Kanan or Conan?
Conan.
Okay, Conan. So you hear the sound of combat, and you can feel something hit the wagon, and it's such a force that it didn't jar the wagon like it was going to tilt it over, but it definitely shook it. So could you tell us what you look like?
All right, so I have some long hair that I normally keep pulled back in a ponytail. It's very just about shoulder length, but currently from sleeping, I've kind of got it just down up the sides of my face. I have this nice big hat that I keep on. The sides of it flop. Clean shaven face. These really nice gleaming eyes. I'm a fairly attractive man. Long coat, and I'm always found with alcohol, but not necessarily drinking it. And what is it that I'm seeing when I wake up?
You see that surrounded y'all is these little old black creatures that they have no eyes, they just have a mouth, and they're really smooth. They kind of gleam when the lights hit, and their long spindly arms end with these wicked looking hooks that they have. You see a bunch of them have actually hooked into some of the guards and actually trying to pull them down, along with these larger ones that look like they're an amalgam of plant and dead put together and give life. And they kind of wobbling around like the crazy airman things that you see outside.
Okay. And I'm in the car right now, just waking up.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Is everybody doing okay? I'm sorry. I'm asking questions since I came in late.
Oh yeah, everything's okay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, Trosiger has done. Yeah, everybody's doing all right. Ain't nobody been hurt yet, except for Caleb. He's over there skipping rocks.
Oh, cool. Sweet. Well, then I'm going to start off with a with a, let's see, this plant one, whatever it looks like. I'm going to create bonfire on top of it.
Okay. Well, conveniently, there's a bonfire that had been lit in the center.
Well, is there anything near it?
Some of the smaller ones, because they're faster than the big ones, have gotten a little closer to it and are actually starting to fight with some of the guards who were sitting and just drinking and talking with one another because they're new people. But the big ones haven't got there yet.
So nothing adjacent to it then?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm going to, like I said then, I'm going to go ahead and create bonfire. It's got a 60-foot range. You hear me say, "Oh, back to bed, gentlemen, I think." And I just go over there and go, "Light them up," when I point to it. And cool. What it's going to need to make a dexterity saving throw, DC 13.
Okay. It got an 18.
Okay. Then that bonfire is still there on top of it. And a creature must also make the saving throw when it moves into the bonfire space for the first time on a turn or ends its turn there. So it's going to have to move.
Okay. So it'll roll it again. Okay.
And let's see. It also ignites flammable objects in that area that aren't being worn or carried.
Oh. Well, you can see some of the leaves has starting to catch fire, and even some of the leaves on him is starting to smoke and smolder as this fire is still around him. He was able to move out from it, but he's still really dangerously close. You could see the stuff starting to smoke up off of him.
Cool. I will then. I'm then gonna hunker down and lie back down because obviously I've not been attacked yet until I set up and saw this and lit it on fire. So I'm laying back down, thinking maybe I can keep hiding in the cart.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with fire and then laying down. Nothing wrong.
Well, it's
All right.
concentration as well. So as long as I keep concentrating, it's going to keep going.
Oh, okay. So we'll start off with the one that is near the fire. Let's go ahead and do this. I might as well. And he got a 7 on his thing, so he had to walk through it. So what happens to him when he walks through it?
He just takes a D8 of fire. Sweet. 6 points.
All right. So he steps through there, and once was just smoldering, now has completely ignite, and he's was in the process of attacking, and now being set on fire. He doesn't really know what to do, so he's kind of just wobbling around, and he's going. Let me see here, and he's going to try and move and attack Arcadian because it's the first thing he can move and get a hold of. And he swings and he lets out with his claw, and then his other claw, like his hands just kind of just shoot from this stitching, and he's trying to grasp at Arcadian, but he, having eyes in the back of his head, keeps ducking when he moves out of the way, and it moves. The other one is going to close closer to Trollsinger, and nope, and nope again. So he does the same thing. It's like they don't. You see these larger ones. Well, they're about y'all size, but they're larger than the other thing. They don't seem to really get too close to you, but they seem to want to try to grab you from a distance. And these are not working. you well, as you're shaking, you can actually see the thing moving behind you, and you move out of its way. Now these little things just start and just jump at these guards, and you can see them dragging them down, trying to use just en masse to try to grab a hold of some of them, and some of them are going to get at Sved and Enoch. So, and I'm going to fix this one. Let's see. Oh. Nope. Missed. And missed. Okay. So, y'all see these things just launching themselves at you with their arms out, trying to hook onto you, and y'all are like dodgeball, just moving out of the way. And it comes up. Sved, it's your turn.
Yeah, I think Sved is gonna kind of take a stance and take a swing at those that are jumping at him. You're close, the small ones that are threatening him directly. 20.
Oh, it hits.
5 damage. Wait. Yeah, for 5.
Okay, so when you attack it, like when you hit it, you hear that you hear that sickening crack, like a coconut getting popped by a baseball bat. And what was inside this creature just sloops to the ground, and it falls wherever it falls after wherever. When it launched itself past you and you swung at it, it just drops into this mass of black, sinewy stuff. Sved? No, not Sved. Enoch, you bringing up the rear.
All right, so there's the one that just jumped out at me.
Yeah.
I'm going to, let's see, try and hit the kid. It is a 17 to hit.
Yeah.
And that does 6 damage.
So what are you doing to hit him?
So I think what happens is this thing lunges out and kind of makes a dive towards Enoch. And Enoch sort of definitely just sort of moves out of the way. And as it goes by, when it lands, it turns and sees Enoch has delivered.
You froze up for a minute. It's like Enoch delivered.
Yeah, he delivers a very powerful headbutt.
So you headbutt him and cave the top part of his head in, but not doing as much damage as, well, not as vicious as everybody else. You just get covered in that black, oily ooze, and it kind of goes down your face.
Did it pop?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going. Yes. I'm not going to do you that way. Everybody got to pop one.
Cool.
So we come to the top of the round. Trosiger.
All right. So what are we left with here? How many are still around? How many are close to Trollsinger?
You can see as all the combat going around that the guards are holding their own and they're able to fight some of them off.
Beautiful.
There's still a couple of those big ones there. There's a couple of them that actually has one of the guards wrapped with his hands wrapped around, and one of them seems to be trying to get at Igor, who is under the wagon, trying to keep from not Igor, Boris, who's trying to keep from getting snatched at, but he's trying to get a hold of him.
Okay. Trollsinger would flick his pike in such a way to get that one that was skewered on it, off in just a flick, and he would as a bonus action move his mark to the one that's trying to get to Boris, and then he would move. He would just turn around and jog up with his pike out. And as he's moving, these the spikes, the thorns, sort of reel back, and they're like they form like a more of a creature as Trollsinger gets closer and closer to this black insect, and they sort of rear up, and as Trollsinger sort of spikes in, the thorns also spike in. He's going to try and hurt this one that's going for Boris. It'll be a 24 to hit and a total of 13 points of damage.
How you want to do it?
Just as described. The more of the thorns, it's like the more of a creature sort of slams down and sort of chomps at this black insect and fells it.
So yeah, it's like trying to get it, and all of a sudden it seizes up as your insect bites and tears the back part, his back out, and it just kind of slumps down. Its arms fall, and its head kind of, losing its spine, just kind of leans there and kind of gurgles as it's dying. And Boris, seeing you come to his rescue, he's like, "Thank you." And he he gets out from under it and actually jumps into the wagon, almost landing on Cunning or Mr. Silver. Almost landing on Mr. Silver.
Now, if I moved past any, obviously they would get an attack of opportunity against Trollsinger. So I'm not sure if there was any between me and him, but if there were, you can feel free to do that.
Yeah, when you're running past them, you can feel like swipes and grazing off of your boot and everything, but nothing ever make full contact to actually slow you down or to stop you. These things aren't rolling very well. Poor things. Arcadian, time to go.
Well, seeing Skewer run. Skewer's name's right. Skewer, that's his name. Yep. Skewer. Yeah. Oh, good. Okay, so I guess I was like, couldn't remember. Oh, seeing Trollsinger or Skewer, better known. Seeing him run off, he was like, all right. I was like, hey, yeah. He kind of just like uses his blade. The whole like just salute him like that. He just uses the blade to go, you do that. And he goes to another one of the big ones, and he's going to attempt to shred into it with his with the two scimitars. I'm pretty sure one of them's a miss. One of them's a 15. The other one is an 7.
When you have moved towards one of the bigger ones, he whirls around to see you coming, and he lashes out with his hand. And he scrapes across you, dealing there and there. Eight points of damage.
Ow.
And you need to make a escape check.
Escape is acrobatics. Am I correct?
Yep.
All right. Blam. 13.
Nope. He's got you. He shifts his hand and he's actually trying to wrap his arms around you. He's got you grappled now, but
So what now?
Oh, nothing. I was like, okay.
So I'm grappled. What does that mean? Nope.
No, I have to remember. I don't remember what grapple does. I think you don't have no movement. Okay. So he's got you stopped.
Okay, so I wasn't planning on moving anyway.
Mr. Silver?
Wait, I can't even attack?
He got you before you could get to him. He stopped you before you got to him.
Can I attack the one? Can I attack the one that's got me grappled?
No. Because
okay.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Silver, you almost get crushed by a very lithe man who is more scared of what's going on outside than what was in the wagon. And when he sees you, he kind of lets out a loud shriek and starts trying to get out of the wagon, thinking you're something else.
No, it's fine, friend. It's. I sit back up, looking over the edge of this wagon, and is there a group of them anywhere?
There's a group of the small ones that has gotten a hold of some of the guards. There's another group that has started to eat a horse and just, it's kicking and screaming, but this thing these suckers have their hooks buried into it and just trying to eat as much as they can.
Got it. I'm gonna go. So that horse is still alive?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna kick in my pack boon, and so each creature within a 10-foot cube. So this is probably gonna get the horse as well. I'm going to literally. I'll look up, and they look over at me just in time to watch me pull my hat down and take it off. And as I take it off, and my face comes up, and you see this gnarly wooden mask that looks to just have grown out of my face. And each of the creatures within that 10-foot cube have to make a Wisdom DC 13 save.
So, one got a -2, and the other one got a 2. So, whatever you're doing, you've done it.
Got it. Then they are. I'm going to go with. Knowing me, I normally like to go with charmed. So them being charmed by me means. Where is that in the appendix? Can't attack the charmer or no, I don't want charmed. I want frightened. Disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls while I am within line of sight, and they can't willingly move closer to me.
Oh, okay. So they see it, and they kind of start giving you a wide berth. Like it will start.
And I will get up and I'll actually kick myself with my move. I'll kick myself over the edge and I'll start walking toward him. And while I'm walking toward him, I realize I haven't seen Nux yet. And so I'm looking around this melee for Enoch.
You see Enoch. He was over with another fellow. They have gotten themselves surrounded, but you see in time, you look and you find him just in time as he's headbutting one of these little creatures and cracking his skull open.
Awesome. Then I'll shout out, Nux, I got something set up for you. And I'll keep my hat just fanning it away, looking for what's next.
The creatures start trying to pull away. You can see them actually starting to grab some of the like they have some of the guards, and they're starting to try to pull and get away from you. Y'all seem to have done this fight is not, the buffet is not as tempting as it was, and they're trying to pull more of the people out. You can see some of the guards are actually fighting with them, trying to keep some of them from being pulled off. The choker that has Eric is going to try to drag.
Don't I get like a chance to get out? I mean,
yeah.
I mean, that grapple kind of owned me, so I mean, you know.
I think you can escape on your turn, but you can keep him from moving you on his turn.
Yeah, so it'll be opposed strength checks. So give me a strength check.
$22.
Well, he starts trying to pull you, and you hold him. Like you feel him trying to pull you, and you grab a hold of whatever you can grab a hold of, and are pulling against him, and he can't move you. And the one, oh yeah, that one's dead. So there's one that's trying to attack one of the other guards. Yeah, he got a hold of him, but the guard doesn't get captured. And these crawling little claws, while everything is moving around, they're just trying to lash and gnash at whatever they can. They not being able to get to Mr. Silver, because he kind of frightened everything away. They start to make their way towards some of the horses and start latching onto them and starts hacking into them. And the horses are letting out these loud, these screams of pain as these hooks are digging in and pulling. Not very serrated. It's just like sticking a hook and pulling it. Wicked looking flesh wounds. Sven, you're up.
How close am I to all the horses and stuff? I had started this fight kind of beside the pillars, right?
You would be about 10 feet from them.
Okay,
the horse is, yeah, the horses, even with all the pain and moving around, they're where you can get a hold of them if you need to.
All right. Cool. Yeah, I mean, I think more than anything in this moment, I don't want to be stranded in the woods, and so I'm going to go to protect the horses. Say is a big one on the horse?
But a lot of the little smaller ones. There's not quite as many big ones as there was. There's one that has a hold of Arcadian, and then there's a couple that has another, some of the other guards, but not quite as big a mass of them as it was the little small ones.
All right, so Sven's just going to run up and swing his axe through the small ones here. A 19.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunate 3 damage.
How do you want to kill it?
I think he's just kind of almost like an uppercut with his axe. Gonna launch this thing into the leaves of the trees overhead, and it'll probably split into as it goes flying off.
Oh, okay. So you swing with the axe and clip it off.
Happy Gilmore style.
Oh yeah, it's like you get a hole in one if it helps, but it just floats off.
Yeah, maybe half of it goes through that hole from the game that Enoch was playing earlier.
Oh yeah, there's like it's like some of the jaw just goes through it, and it's like now it's hanging on it. Enoch. Oh wait, was that hit? I'm sorry. Was that all your turn?
Yep.
Enoch.
So, are the little ones that were kind of coming towards Enoch now running back into the woods?
Yeah. You can see when he started doing it, when Mr. Silver did the frightened of his little mask and made it and scared the bejesus out of everybody. Now they're not so worried about meat as they are trying to get away from the thing that scared the bejesus out of them.
Gotcha. So Enoch would kind of loop to the other side of the wagon, and he would see, and I'm guessing kind of off to his left is the our arc grappled, and then off to the right is the horses and stuff like that. Correct?
Yeah.
Cool. I think he would kind of turn around and see Mr. Silver, and he would look over towards the horses, and he would charge over towards where the grappling is occurring. And he is going to run up and attempt to punch Arc free. With, let's see. Yeah. Shit. It is, 16 to hit.
You hit.
All right. I will do 5 damage, and if this thing still has a hold of him, Enoch would actually go into a little combo as well. So
yeah, when you hit it, you can see it kind of if a thing could actually fake being staggered or like it's getting its lights punched out. It does it, but it's still together and with a firm grip still on Arc.
Gotcha. Cool. Then I will spend a key point and flurry my blows. And one of them is a 16 and the other one is a 20.
They both hit.
All right. So we will then deal an additional 7. So he runs over and he kind of does this like leaping Superman type punch, and he hits this creature. And when he lands, he turns and he does 2 quick punches to where on a person kidneys might be. And so the first punch is 7 and the second punch is 6.
So you punch, and you can see blood start, or what passes for blood for these things, start coming out of its mouth, and then it kind of coughs, and like that, this big gush of it before it starts to topple over, and it's still trying to force its muscles to keep a hold of Arc, but it just starts to let go and fall.
Cool. I do not know how much movement I might have left, but I do have a lot of movement. How far would you say that thing was from me initially?
I will say about 15 feet.
Okay. Then I'm actually going to use the remainder of my movement to position myself between where these things are attacking the horses and the woods that they're trying to run into.
All right. Trollsinger? Trollsinger. It's your turn.
All right. Again, Trollsinger looks around, seeing who's in danger. If there's any more of these things threatening someone that's unarmed or seems a little more in danger.
Oh yeah, they are You see where there was quite a few, with all with the efforts of these guards and the guards that were with y'all, and y'all, each of y'all have tucked this thing down, the numbers down to where now they're just trying to. It's more like fight or flight. They're not so worried about trying to attack anymore as to they seem like they're trying to get away. They're particularly trying to get away from Mr. Silver, who has scared the bejesus out of them.
Yeah. Okay. They're just trying to run. So I guess in a frenzy of he just looks around, doesn't see anyone in immediate danger, and so he'll just run up to the nearest creature and to him and try and attack it with his pike. And he'll move his mark to it as a bonus action. I only got 14 on the attack.
Was you attacking a large one or some of the smaller ones?
I guess he'd still go after large ones if there was one close by.
Yeah, there's one left. So you have the movement to close in to get him.
So it's 14.
No, you missed this time. It's their fight or flight has kicked in, and when you swing down at it, he's moving. He's like he just drops down, like just in place, like he's jelly. He just drops down and then starts to come back up and move away.
All right. Well, at least I'm up with it, so that when it moves, I might get an attack of opportunity or something. So that is fine. When I miss, Skewer sort of curses. I can't use his voice at the moment. Don't worry about it. He curses and spits on the ground.
Okay. Arcadian? You are free.
So he kind of, as a quick survey of the area, he nods to Caleb's character. I can't remember his name. Enoch. He nods to Enoch, and kind of he grabs his attention of the things that the horses. About how many of them are they? Are they like swarming the horses?
Yeah, it looks like there's maybe about 5 or 6 of them, and they can't pull the horse down, but they don't seem to be too worried about pulling it down as trying to eat it.
Are they like bunched up on it?
It's about as much as they can be, with the horse constantly kicking and trying to get them off of him.
How bad does the horse look hurt?
He's pretty bad off. He doesn't seem like if they keep on him much longer, he's going to be dead. He's not going to live very much longer.
All right. So with this, he says he kind of takes a dagger and he throws it, but he's not aiming the dagger to hit the horse. He's aiming it to hit it in the middle to get as many of these hands in this as possible. As soon as the dagger hits the ground, it like a puff of almost like an explosion of the daggers kind of hits the ground, and it kind of levitates up a bit, and it kind of switchblades out in a fan all the way around it, and it starts to whirl around. And that's pretty much Cloud of Daggers. At the beginning of their turn, if they start their turn in the daggers or they enter it for the first time, they'll take 4d4 points of damage. I don't think there's a savings throw for it, but that's what I do. It'll have to be their turn before anything happens.
Okay. Mr. Silver, you've got these things. You have scared everything.
All right. And this. Okay. No. Okay, this sucks. I'm going to go ahead and drop a sleep on top of those horses and the horse and the bugs.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. Oh, yeah. 15, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 33, 36.
So the horse is bucking around and these things are gnashing, and you cast your, what does your spell look like?
That sleep is you watch me, like, as I continue to walk real close, and I lean right over and I'm like, shh.
Okay, so when you it's like everything just falls asleep. It starts off with the big ones. The ones that are on the horse just fall off, like they just start falling off one by one, and then eventually the horse just collapses, and everything that is in that area has just went to sleep. You have lulled them.
And then I stand up, look at him, dust my hands, look at everybody else. Well, kill him. Drinks on me.
All right. Well, there's no more of the big ones, and the few of the smaller ones that are still up is asleep. So, if you want to, we can drop out of initiative. Y'all just stepping on bugs, or we can keep going if y'all want to stay in initiative.
We could just casually let the cloud of daggers kill them all too.
Yeah.
just like.
Oh well, yeah. So yeah, as they're falling, they're landing in Arcadian's fan of daggers, and it's like a Ginsu. You see it; it's like they being shredded, like a Mr. Like what is that? The salad shooter. They go in whole, and they just get shot out as nice little black, oily celery.
Slap chop.
Yeah,
You're gonna love my nuts.
the Whopper Chopper.
Well, that seemed pretty fun. Why did I agree to come with you again? I walk over to Enoch.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay, I'll go. Nope, I'm going.
You do it.
Enoch kind of heads back over towards the wagon, and he hops back up on the back side of the wagon where he was sitting, kind of by where Mr. Silver's feet would have been as he was daydreaming. But he takes like a handkerchief out of his pocket and kind of starts to clean his face off with all this bug squish that has made its way there, and he kind of does that and flicks it and wrings it out and puts the handkerchief back in his pocket. And he sits there for a second, and he's actually looking for the guy that wanted to play skipstones with him.
Oh, you find Ire. He's over in the he's over next with some of the other of Zorber's guard. He got messed up. Him being the lightest armor of the band got tore up when these initial little creatures attacked. They seem to latch onto him. He's got a lot of just vicious chop marks.
Yeah, I think Enoch walks over to where the 4 copper are laying, and he scoops all 4 of them up. He walks over to Ire, and he knows Ire is in the middle of some other stuff. He stands there and he takes the 2 copper and he sits them down next to Ire, and then puts the other 2. He pulls the sack back out of his pocket, opens it back up, drops his 2 back in, tightens the string, puts it in his pocket. And he says, perhaps next time we can continue. And he goes back and kind of takes a seat at the end of the wagon.
Ire kind of, in the moment, had forgotten that y'all were actually playing for money. Nods to you, and he says, it's a deal. He puts the 2 silver back in his pouch, as some of the guards are starting to trying to keep the horse that has been ate on from actually losing out any more blood. Thankful that Mr. Silver's sleep spell put him down.
The horse. How injured does the rest of my merry band of mercenaries look?
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, because I'm thinking no one else got hurt. So he walks over to the horse, and he kind of like kneels down, and he says, "You're not a person." He goes, "You're not a person." He says, "But you have feelings too." And he places his hand on the horse's neck, and he casts a 2nd level cure wound spell on him. He will be getting back. Wow, that's a good heal spell. 13. I think I get my ability modifier, my spellcaster modifier to it too. 16 points of damage. If I don't get it, it's only 13.
Oh, well, you see the bite marks and the chew marks and the claw marks are starting to knit together. The more dangerous looking the wounds, like where they had started chewing this horse's haunches, is starting to heal up, but it's still scarred. Even when it finally finishes, it still has these nasty looking scars from where it had been ate on.
Has the bleeding stopped?
Yeah.
I pat the horse on the neck. I says, "My favor to a druid is repaid." And I walk back over to the campfire. I pick my loot back up, and I go back to playing it. I will be starting a Song of Rest.
Trollsinger is making his way around the camp, but not within the area of the clearing. He is going in and out of that area, I guess. He's going into all the patches of trees. He is taking his pike with him. He is, looking. He's pulling apart some of the branches and leaves, and he's checking all the way around the camp. It's probably going to take him a while because this area is kind of big, but he's going to go around the whole area and make sure that there's no more of these things. And especially because he was the first one to see them, the first place that he checks is the place where they all sort of spewed out from. and he's going to just pop in there. He's going to keep on just looking and seeing where they came from, and see if he can locate any more of them.
Well, as you come out of the ring of stones and you're actually starting to make your way into the actual oven wall, you get this distinct feeling that you're being watched, and it seems to be all around you, like the trees themselves are paying you attention, seeing you there, and it sounds seem really close. Even far off, they seem to be, like, even when they sound real far off, ever so often they'll get like they're right next to your ear. As you're making your way through all this, you see that a lot of these things had crawled up from the ground, and you know from being that you're close to the Erd Wall. It's a large underground highway, and they're just as dangerous as the above ground. So you can actually see where they have actually dug their way up, and y'all seem to be by chance. It looks like y'all were just caught in the crossfire of them actually getting up out of the Erd Wall. The Erd Wall actually expands from each one of the capitals. It started in Nafala because that was their thing, but then the rest of the cities was like, screw this, we're not going to be having to go through the Oven Wall and get attacked by werewolves and whatever. So they've all started building this big trench-like underground network.
All right. Well, finding the place where these creatures came out of, I guess what Trollsinger would do is he would start ripping limbs off trees and just jamming them down the hole.
Okay. Give me a survival check.
All right. Well, that's going to be great. My survival check is a total of 11. I rolled an 8.
So you're shoving these sticks and these branches down in there, and you're really happy with your work. You don't know if it's going to stop anything from coming up, but you have filled the hole full of sticks.
Excellent. And then I'll make my way back to camp. And when he breaks into the camp, into the clearing, he will declare, he will say, me filled the hole where those things came from. Won't be more of those coming out of there.
If they look, some of the guards look at you, and Igor, like, he catches what you're saying, and he's on the page. He gives you a nod, like, you did good. So, after all the combat and the bodies have been cleared out, and the ones that have been injured have been taken care of, it starts to get peaceful, and you can start seeing that the stones are starting to glow a little. They give off their own light, and you start to feel more at peace, along with what does your song do? I'm unfamiliar with the spell.
It adds D6 to our natural resting rolls. So if we need HP, basically when we roll our HP for our rest, we get an additional D6 to add to it. But I don't think any of us are hurt. But maybe some of the guards will heal a little bit more, or something like that. It just adds that dice.
Oh, okay. So,
and it sort of the idea of it is that we like it sort of gives us that lulls us into a deeper sleep, kicks off that natural healing that we have, and allows it to work better.
Oh,
because of the song.
Okay, so
go ahead, finish that.
So as
I've got some help too.
when everything is settled down, the guards that have been hurt have been moved in closer to the fire, and the guards that aren't hurt are starting to take their turns. Bax and Zorbo go into the carriage, and basically you can hear it shut and you hear a lock. So it's who wants to take first watch? And what was you gonna say, Jim?
I am going to whether they want to come in or not, I'm going to say, well, back at my bar, I have this little trick, and I start digging around some of the dirt next to the fire and rubbing my hands in it, letting it fall, digging up some dirt, rubbing my hands in it, letting it fall, and hold up my hands and go. I was real good at making sure that, well, anytime anyone came in my door, I'd always know. And so I hold up my hands like it's going to be something special and start chanting, Lama Samba Kanana. Lama Samba Kanana. Lama Samba. And I look around at everybody. Just kidding. And I reach into my pouch and I pull out a little bell and I go, ding, 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 ding. And just this wave passes over everybody that they can't see but they can feel, and it centers out from the bonfire out 20 feet in each direction, and I've cast alarm.
Oh, okay.
So everybody within our group is able to move freely in and out of it, and the horse, if for some reason it wants to run away, it's good. I don't really care because I'm going to be awake the whole time anyway. But now there's a warning if something goes off.
All right. So,
and I'll be taking all watches.
Well, you
unless somebody wants one to be awake with me, I'm going to be awake the entire time.
Okay, so who wants to be with Mr. Silver on first watch?
I'll take it. Why not? I'll speak up. Yeah, so Trollsayer sort of plants his pike in the ground, and he stands firmly, and he starts patrolling back and forth in a particular area. Very conditioned. Looks like this is something that he knows how to do.
Okay. Do y'all want to roll perception separately, or do y'all want to? One of y'all want to aid the other?
Even though I am awake, I'm probably going to be more passive, so I'm not going to be super active. So I could, since I'm not active so much, I guess I can be helpful rather than. So I can give you the advantage.
All right. So for the first watch, I rolled my perception is +3. So I rolled a 13 and a not natural 20. I rolled a 17 on the dice. So it's a not natural 20 for the advantage that you've given.
Okay, so you're sitting there and you're watching more content, and Mr. Silver is just, I guess lazily just sitting there, just daydreaming more.
Oh no! As soon as everybody starts resting and he starts going on that, I pull a small notebook out of my pocket, and I'll start reading through it. And I have and then around my wrist, chained to my wrist, I have this green crystal that hangs. You see the small thin chains chained to my arm, chaining it through my fingers, and this green crystal hangs from my wrist. And as I hold my hand over the book, the green crystal starts to light up, and then literally, you'll be able to see, anybody be able to see the bonfire start to move like it's being stoked. And I look at it, and then I say, bring me some twigs. I need a chair. And all of a sudden, twigs over here look like they're being picked up by some unseen force and set down, and then it starts trying to make a chair. So, I mean, I have a servant, and I am completely content with letting everybody do things for me.
Okay, well, since you're doing more of the watching, you can actually see every once in a while, you see spirits moving through the forest. Some of them, the forms of animals. There's a great elk. It comes out of the forest, and it's like it's moving along the brush like it would in life. It stops, it turns to where it's like it sees you, and then bolts back into the forest. But instead of running into the forest, it seems like it runs into a tree, and it disappears. The sounds that the forest is starting to give there, since all of this has passed, you hear strange calls. You can hear on the wind. You can actually hear wolves, and sometimes they seem so close that they're right beside you, all around inside the camp and outside. And y'all's watch, Trosiger's watch, comes to an end. Who wants to be number 2 with Mr. Silver?
I'll take it.
Oh, go for it, Eric.
I'll take it.
So you see Mr. Silver doing what do you say, like everything is being done for him. Here. What are you doing?
He actually is going to go about, I don't know, a little bit out into the forest a little bit, but not out of camp-wise. He takes a stick where these things, spewed out from or whatnot.
Oh yeah, you find it's not hard to find because Trosiger actually I think he.
No, I'm not going that far. I'm not going to go unless it was the hole that they came out of was very close. Like I wasn't going to go far. Believe me, I'm brave. I'm not that brave.
Okay.
He's going to find a pretty tall, sturdy stick, and he's going to stick it into the ground, and I'm going to cast light on it.
Okay. So you flare up this light, and it starts to illuminate this big area that you're in, and you see things that had actually came across scary away.
All right.
When you do that, and you put that in the ground, you'll see me as you're seeing all this stuff scurry away, and I'm just kind of looking at you. I smile at you. That's nice. I look at the bonfire, and I use control flames, and I double the area of brightness of the bonfire.
Arcadian kind of chuckles, and he goes, "Well, I'm but a simple spell sword. I don't have a lot of magic within myself. I didn't realize this was a contest of light, but
oh no,
with that,
interesting.
he will go out a little bit further, kind of where it's a lot more dark, and he'll stick the stick there. And when he walks back, he says, the only reason why I'm putting it there is because that's where it seems like they came from. I says, and besides, if something decides to attack the stick, I says, well, I'll know when my spell dissipates.
Or when the alarms go off in your head.
That too.
But that's all right. I'm only here to help. Keep everybody in good spirits, right?
He kind of pats him on the back. I go, sir. You stick with the magic. I'll stick with being the greatest entertainer in the party. And he's chuckling, of course, when he's saying it. He says, I will be the one to keep people in their spirits of high. I said, I've done it for years. And he's of course he's laughing when he's doing it. He goes, I says, and besides, I says, surviving in the Ulven Wald, no amount of magic gonna save you if it wants you. Unfortunately.
Are you still aiding, or do you want to roll your own survival perception?
Well, I have a high perception. I have a +5 perception, I believe. Yep.
Right.
So yeah. I mean, it's up to Jim. If Jim wants to aid me, that's all up to him, bro. All right.
Are you kidding me? As far as I'm concerned, you're doing the work for me, and I didn't even have to ask.
All right, cool.
So I'll be like, yeah.
So pretty much it's advantage on the roll, right, bro?
Right.
Ooh. 25. Nat 20 on that one. Jesus Christ. That sounded like a demon. I don't know what that was, but it sounded like a demon.
Well, that's my grandson offering sound effects.
Great sound effects. Bravo. Give that kid a raise.
No. Well, with your roll, you can hear the sound of music. It seems to come from all around. It's this haunting music. And then it kind of switches into this loud shriek. As is like everything, like all the instruments just suddenly went completely out of tune. And then it just dies down. And it's like eerily quiet. No birds, no bugs, nothing is making sounds.
Okay, out of curiosity, I have knowledge, I have history, and it's rare for me to take a skill that's not something to benefit me some way or another. So would I be able to know some folklore or give you a roll to see what the hell would do something like that? Everything of folklore and disaster.
Do you have if you would need nature?
Oh, okay. Well, no. I wasn't necessarily like I'm talking like stories. Like, like I don't care like the actual creature. Like I'm just like stories about it.
Oh yeah, there are many stories of the the ghostly trio. Um,
Okay.
yeah, they play it. They starts off with the music, and then they're more trickster than harmful, and they've lured a lot of people into very compromising situations. Sometimes even through no fault of their own, people be hurt, but they're a trickster spirit. They don't
What kind of instruments was it?
uh, uh, a horn, a
Mm.
lute,
Mm.
a flute, and a violin.
Mm. Well, for the rest of the night, I'm going to attempt to to fix the broken lute that I hear in my head or that I heard.
Oh, okay. So through the rest of the y'all's watch, you don't really nothing really happens. Y'all's watch is unsuccessful. Well, actually, I guess it is successful. You didn't get attacked, so.
As our watch is coming to an end, I pull out a shawm and start playing.
Oh. So.
And I look over at his lute and he goes, "When you get that fixed, we should play together. This could be fun."
And with that, you just hear him just like stop, and he looks over his shoulder, and he says, "I might not be magic, or have your magic." I says, "But the one thing that I am is the greatest lute player in all of Innistrad."
Fine. I'm not too bad on my shawm. And I go back to blowing into bed.
So,
And he he kind of chuckles going back to playing his lute.
so who is taking watch with Mr. Silver now?
Sped's gonna wake up here. Amp. Damn. Why is it so bright out here?
Oh yeah,
Oh.
there's
I hear him say that, and I drop it down to only half.
Rubbing his eyes coming out of wherever he was asleep. Sped. Oh, thank you, Mr. Silver. And still have your
Sped,
book.
is it? Right?
Sped.
Sped. I've never been good with names.
Yes,
Do you want to take a walk? Everybody else has.
I was actually wondering if you could tell me where I might find a book like the one you have, the glowing one.
The book doesn't glow. The gem does.
Oh. Well, I thought your book was magic. Forgive me.
My book most certainly isn't magic. I even close it and I show you. And on the outside of it, it says, Frey Archer's Everyday Remedies.
Awesome.
It's like,
Okay.
It's a book on natural healing.
All right. Well, Sved kind of looks around and wake me up if you need me to kill anything. I'll just stay out here with you. Starts to doze off.
You'll know if something shows up that we need to kill. I promise.
Perfect. Well, also, maybe if the boss comes out, wake me up too. Can you set your little bell to go off when Bax leaves his wagon?
Is the wagon within 20 feet of it, of the bonfire?
Yeah.
So I've already made it so that he can pass through it freely, so I can't change that in the middle of alarm.
Okay. Well, wake me up.
Yeah.
I'll happily let you keep watch. Just don't go getting me in trouble.
No problem.
I trust you. You've shown your worth already tonight.
Well, thank you. You're very kind. Do you drink?
And he's fallen asleep already. He's just like, yeah, whatever. Good night.
If he sleeps like that, he must drink.
He probably smells like alcohol. That's how he got to sleep in the first place.
And as you go back to sleep, I look back at my book, and I open it back up. I look back at you, and I... Whew, that was close.
Well, using passive, you do not run into anything. Your watch, you just catch the sight of something moving every once in a while, but it's like it moves so fast. It could be an animal. It's not bothering you, so it's like, well, it's over there.
Okay.
And this watch it's eventful, and it comes to an end. I guess it's Enoch is last. Is it?
Yeah. Enoch sort of raises out of his slumber and he stands up and he stretches real big. And without turning to face him, he says, "Cunning."
Huh. Good morning, Knuckles. How you doing, friend?
Just waiting for another beautiful day. And he kind of looks out, still with his back turned, out towards the woods. And he would go through some light calisthenics briefly in the morning, stretching, kind of doing standing there at attention and then dropping into like a squat and then just exploding, like jumping straight up out of it and then landing, centering himself, and then doing that a couple of times. And finally, after one last little like twist of the waist, he would begin jogging around the outside of the campfire.
I'll make seeing him trying to stay at the edge of the light, I'll crank back up the light from the bonfire to twice, and to me it's a bit of a joke because I know he's fast. I am very aware of how fast he can be, and so I'm now pushing the boundary to see just how fast he's willing to go, with the distance now being further than it originally is.
Yeah, and kind of wordlessly, he's still sort of jogging, doing laps more than anything else. And so seeing this light expand out a little bit further, he moves back out to sort of the edge of the light. And he thinks to himself, thank goodness, fewer laps. But yeah, he'd on his run, I will percept.
Oh, alrighty.
Are you giving me aid here, Mr.
Yeah,
Silver?
that's what I'm calling the light.
A 16.
You see a man dressed in white, kind of shaved head, long chin beard, and he's walking along the edge. And he stops for a moment with a fishing pole in his hand. And he looks at you, and he kind of stroking his beard. And he reaches, and you can almost feel his hand on your shoulder. And you can feel you can feel sorrow. And he kind of lets you go and strokes his beard again and walks towards the woods like he's looking for something.
And he kind of trots and stops. He's been in these woods a lot. And whether something like this has happened specifically, I don't know. But he kind of stops for a moment and looks down at the ground and kind of takes in the edge of the light and the edge of the darkness right next to each other. And he looks at it for a second, and he turns to look over his shoulder to where the man was standing, and that's when he sees him kind of walking into the woods. And for a moment, he kind of looks up towards, I don't know, the tree line, the sky, whatever's above him. And he takes sort of like a gallop step and then starts kind of back in his big ring, his big circle that he's running.
Well, as the day starts, you can feel the bonfire that Mr. Silver has cast is starting to die out. And you can see light pierce through in places with people starting to rouse. And you can hear the heavy clank of a door as Bax has pushed his carriage open. Now seeing Bax's carriage is kind of armored. That's the reason why he needs those 4 big draft horses. You can hear it kind of squeak as he's pushing that door open. And he looks out kind of lazily and yawns a bit and tugs at his beard. And he it's time to go. He just hollers out across his camp. And it seems to rattle some of his regulars awake. And he will be eating on the road. And he starts passing out these little leather wrapped pouches. As he's walking by, he just gives everybody of his group one. And Boris and Igor are hard at work hitching the wagons. And, the guards and everybody is starting packing it up. Zorbo and Bax shake hands one last time. And may we never see each other again. And y'all clomp one way, and Zorbo is going the other. You make it along the path when you know what Caleb. I think Enoch would start to realize that they are closer and they're actually deeper into the oven wall. No longer are you just skirting the outside of it. You're going deep into it.
My friends, this is, I believe, as they say, what we signed up for. And he kind of gestures in the direction that they're going.
It's oh, nothing. I thought Mr. Silver was going to say something, so I was waiting.
Oh no, oh, well, I guess we can. Let's just go. The sooner we get done, the sooner I can have a look around, the sooner we can get back. Looking over at Enoch.
Well, it's as you're making your way in, it's a lot harder to travel. The road seems to fight you. The trees have grown since the last time that Enoch has been through here. He's been through to Averbrook through his travel, and their lumberjacks are working always to keep the roads as cleared as they can. Arcadian has been through here through his travels with his minstrel going from town to town. Trosiger has not been as deep in here, but this is every bit the legends say with the howl packs and the malevolent spirits. You travel a better part of the day under constant watch. You look and you see like you just catch the glimpse of something, but you can't figure it out. You keep moving as the light starts to dim down through the day, and Boris, Igor, and even Bax, who is outside the wagon now, is started to take his place up on the top with his driver, and he seems more worried now the deeper y'all get. About 8, you actually see the first signs of civilization that y'all have not seen in a couple of days. You start to see Averbrook, big stone walls with lights on top shining out so they can see. As you get closer, you see heads of werewolves mounted all along the walls, a warning to the howl packs and to the people if you're unfortunate enough to be bit by a werewolf. The gates are these big double wooden doors, heavy wood. Iron has been shaped and nailed into it. There, you can see guards moving. When they see you, you hear a horn blow, and you can start seeing the guards moving more where you are at. You see they're ready but they're not in full attack mode. They're real leery of you. One of this older guard comes forward, and Bax gets down, and as they about meet, you see the guard pulls out a silver necklace and shows it to Bax, who in turns pulls a dagger and shows it to him, and they clasp hands. It's been too long since we've seen newcomers. Where do you hail from? Bax is, we're just merchants moving some goods if you want to have some. And the guard looks at, he's like, well, you'll spend a night in the suite, and we'll talk about this in the morning. He turns and looks at each of you. There's 8 of you. Suite's gonna be full tonight. And they says we need your weapons.
Do I know what these suites are?
Roll if you.
Okay.
I think history, intelligence.
Are we in Kessig?
Yeah.
I've been living in Kessig for.
Oh yeah. No, never mind. You don't even need. Yeah, the suite is stockades.
Okay.
Averbrook was actually overran by werewolves, and when they were able to take their town back, they have made these stockades that are laced with silver, and they got kind of paranoid. Before newcomers are allowed into the city, they have to spend a night in what they call the suite. And if you're not a werewolf, when the moon passes, you're free to go. If you're a werewolf, they kill you.
I'm going to try to talk him out of that. See if there's any. I'm going to try to convince him. Looking at him, I am from this area. My friend here is from this area. This man, you embraced him. I vouch for the 8 of us.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, showing silver is almost like shaking someone's hand.
I'll pull out a silver arrow tip then.
Yeah, even though, silver can be faked and all that, it's something that's just comforting. Well, give me a persuasion check at disadvantage.
Nice. Oh, 19 and 5. So it's going to be a 10.
He says, the mayor of our town was from here too. He changed and led the men to kill us. He's like, I don't want to turn you away into the forest. If you want to, you can spend a night in the suite, and he points to the woods, or you can find a spot out there.
Just do me a favor and leave our weapons nearby. Because if this place gets attacked, the last thing that any of us want to do is be locked in your stockade, not able to defend ourselves or help you.
Yeah, we can do that. And they gather y'all's weapons. If you try to hide any, I think it's sleight of hand. It doesn't.
Arcadian looks at the dude that takes us to that's wanting us to stay in the suites, and he says, "I understand custom is custom." He says, Averbrook is, suffered a great loss from what I've been heard and what I remember of stories. I says, I am happy to stay into your stockades. I says, I just have one. I says, you can take my weapons. That's fine. I says, but I'm not giving you my loot.
He
And as soon as you mention your loot, I go, or my sham. And I look at you and I give you a wink.
he's like, we don't want your. You can keep your musical instruments.
You know, Arcadian looks at him. He goes, "Come on." I says, "Have you never thought about striking somebody over the head with a guitar?" He kind of just trying to get him to laugh.
And this grim-faced man doesn't look like he's laughed a day in his life. It's like, who would do such a idiotic thing?
I look at him. I says, "Someone that's defenseless and ain't got nothing to defend himself with."
So,
Yes.
if you can see medieval face palm, this man medieval face palm.
Look, whoa! He asked a question. I gave an answer. I mean, if you're fighting for your life, I mean, I'll use a guitar.
Well, they open this one area, big metal gate, and lead y'all in. And this place, very uniformed. You can see stock after stock after stock after stock. The area is open when you can see guards moving around. As they're moving around just the perimeter, each of the stocks are made of this heavy wood, and you can see where the hands and the head go. You see these big bands of silver, and in this silver is etched with runes all over. And the captain sticks the key in, and they start opening them, and they put everybody in a stock, and they lock it, and you can feel like something prick your wrist, not physically, but there's like something just pricks into your wrist and your neck, and you're held there. And each of you is locked in there. Bax is, has tried every way he could, but even he can't convince this man to let him out. They bring you a single board, and they prop it up under you. And it says to rest yourself during the night. And they prop up what is essentially a 4x8 up under you, tall enough to set up under you where you could sit and be somewhat comfortable. And he said, "Don't worry, these are my friends up here. And if you're not werewolves, we'll see you in the morning. If you are," and you can see these big ballista like crossbows that they've got mounted. You won't have to worry about it. And he kind of chuckles a little bit and walks out and shuts the door and leaves y'all to y'all's devices in this stockade. And
so our stuff is right here?
You're literally looking at your stuff. You can't get to it. It can't get, you can see it. They fix it to where, they've not took anything. You're just like you're in this stockade, and you can move your hand and all that, but your arms won't move. You can move your head, but you can't make yourself go backwards.
Cool. And these stocks are locked?
Yeah. the what y'all in, each one is locked, and then they shut the door and they lock it, and you see these guards moving along the edge. Some are stationed at these big ballistas, and some are moving around. You see the wall. It's open. You're in like a courtyard, so you know you're not enclosed in. It's like you're not. If something gets in, you're not. Well, I guess you are at a disadvantage, but you're not in a building. And they leave you to your own devices.
Well, this is convenient. Stay out all night, and if the wolves, if we do turn into wolves, they'll kill us. If we don't turn into wolves, then when the wolves show up, they'll kill us.
You hear a sigh from where Enoch is, and he actually gets up and would put his knees kind of sitting on his legs tucked underneath him, and he's just face straight ahead, and he's just kind of closes his eyes.
Oh yeah. Well, and a few of the guards actually come down to y'all, and like they have this big thing where they all offer you water.
I am super pleased with this.
Yeah, they this he's in his mid-30s. You know, he's dressed in leather. He has this scar. It seems like everybody here has a scar. You're not part of Averbrook unless you're scarred up. And he offers. He's, I'm sorry, we can't. I can't give you any more than I got water and I got bread and maybe some fruit and cheese if you prefer that over just regular bread.
Friend, I would absolutely I would die right now if I could have just a single hand free.
Yeah,
look at me, and I'm gesturing toward myself. I'm like, look at him. Look at everybody around here. I am the least threatening of anyone. And as I fall back, and I'm held up by the stalk that won't let my head go all the way back. And I'm starting to kick because I realize now I'm going to have to stay awake through this whole night like this. I'm starting to fit like a little child because I'm realizing that like I can keep myself entertained, and now like I can't do like I can try to cast something, but this sucks.
Yeah, you see the man. He's not without sympathy. I wish I could help you. But they would kill me for freeing you before we found out whether you're a werewolf or not. Kind of an old custom that has not been fully died off. But as far as that you being the less of it, he points to one of the stalks that has nobody. He's like, I know you can't see, and I forgive me for pointing, but there was a lady that was in that one. She proclaimed that she wasn't any danger to us. And the full moon happened, and she was actually able to seduce her way out. It took 16 guards to kill her when she decided to turn into one of these monstrosities.
Wonderful. So you become a monstrosity by being bit. Look me over. You will find no bites.
I'm sorry, I can't do it. I can be a conversation to you until I have to move on, or unless you just want to be left alone.
Well, do me a favor, please. And I gesture toward, like, in my right pocket, there's a notebook. Would you be so kind as to get it out and open it and set it upon the ground, please? At least I could read.
He pulls it out and he sets it down on the ground. He's like, "Do you have a page preference?"
I'll be awake all night. I'll find a way.
Okay. So he just opens it to the front, not knowing where you're at. He actually looks for, like, if you've marked a page or a bookmark or something, but if he doesn't find anything, he just shuts it down, opens it to page 1. He's like, "Well, happy reading."
Thank you. I've been to this book so many times, I could probably recite it. And I'm going to go on to reading.
Sitting there, he's like, "I've heard stories about this, about the stockades." Says, "Never did I ever think I would, me personally, would actually be put into them." I says, I've always heard people tell stories of these so-called savages. I says, that you call werewolves. I says, I remember a time when they were honorable beasts, where the people looked for them to protection and looked for them for help. I says, but yet one thing breaks the key to their bond of mortality and turns them into a savage beast. And I says, and we, the common folk and the civilized, we're more savage and more bestial than the werewolves will ever be. I says, granted, their predicament of killing folks on sight is not necessarily my cup of tea. I says, it's I understand Averbrook, and I says, I understand. I heard the story of your mayor turning out to be one of those savages and all that good stuff. I says, but a monster that's not those werewolves. I says, you don't hear people tell the tale. I says, of the second moon. I says, I tell him, I says, I understand your people's lost everything to werewolves. I says, and I understand they attack your people. But I told him, I says, but holding people in a cell, I says, I understand it's a precaution of life. And I says, but shooting somebody down like a helpless animal makes you more savage than they'll ever be.
Yeah, I wish I could. I wish it would actually be passed away. Did everybody just? Everybody just froze. Did everybody still
It's
there?
just staying quiet.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Well, yeah, he just.
Troll thing is just being quiet. He just takes it.
Well, they leave you here for the rest. If you have to sleep, I know Mr. Silver doesn't have to sleep, but you sleep the best you can, but it is not the best sleep. You wake up with a point of exhaustion. And I think we'll take a break there because I need to go to the bathroom. So we shall be back in just a minute. or 5 minutes, or ever how long it takes to use the bathroom.
Why is everyone muted?
We are taking a break.
Ah.
Oh, I see you left and joined. That's what happened. Yeah, we're doing a bio break.
Oh. Yeah, I was sitting there and I only had one thing to tell the guard. Change starts with only one person. That was my epic last thing I wanted to tell him. Oh well. Was it meant to be, I suppose.
Yeah, I imagine the people of this town are probably super skittish and don't give a shit what these guys wrapped up in the stocks who've never been here really have to say. That's my guess.
No. See, the thing is like, I don't think the books tell you, or the book that they put out that Clyde's using, they don't tell you the extent of fuckery that what happened to the werewolves. Like, the werewolves actually got to a point to where they weren't called werewolves; they were called wolf ears. And wolf ears were actually they was actually werewolves that actually have their intelligence. And when Emrakul got released in the Return to Innistrad and all that bull mess, they messed it up. Sadly. I wonder if they actually put the wolf ear in the book. That's Clyde. And it kind of wouldn't be pointless, because if it happens after Emrakul, then they wouldn't be existing anymore. I think we got somebody in the party I think we covered everywhere from the game, did we? Because I know we got somebody from Keswick, we got somebody from Nephalia. I'm from Galvany.
Well, don't say that I'm too much Nephalia. I didn't spend long in Nephalia.
Well, no. I mean, like, I'm talking like human variant Nephalian. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I think we actually got one of every. We got people from all walks of life. Jim, I don't know what you're eating, but you look like you are just enjoying the shit out of what you're eating. Oh yeah, Cheetos. Yeah, I wouldn't blame you. I'd fucking Cheetos are amazing. Like I used to, whenever I'd go to Walmart, whenever me and the wife would go to Walmart, I'd always pick up because they sell like $1 bag of Cheetos at Walmart, and I always get them. Well, me and the wife was in the back, and she was like, "Hey, they sell a big old bag of great value Cheetos for $2." I was like, "No." I was like, "These are not Cheetos. Cannot compare to Cheetos."
So I'm curious if I can get out of that point of exhaustion, because it says to gain the benefits of a long rest, you can spend all 8 hours doing light activity, such as reading your book of shadows and keeping watch.
Huh. I would think so.
What do
I would think so.
Point of exhaustion. Anyway.
You got disadvantage on checks.
Basically, ability checks. I think the point was this was like we're in an uncomfortable position.
Yeah.
Yeah, how Magic the Gathering always does their stuff is always has to be unique and weird. Like you just think they would just put you in a collar with a silver collar with chains and just let you stay a night in the things that way. I don't know why they have to do the whole magical thing. I wonder if I could use Mage Hand to bring some of our stuff to us.
I think that's what the runes are for, to stave off magic.
Yeah, probably. Won't know until you try, right?
Won't know until you get killed for trying to use magic to get out of.
I'm willing to sacrifice us. I didn't do it. It was them. The spell came from you. No, it didn't. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I'm fairly convincing. If it wasn't for disadvantage. I am very interested in some of these, like, common items, magic items in Xanathars. Like magic armor that, as an action, dons itself to you completely. Or doffs itself.
So does it put on itself for you? Or does it take itself off for you?
I don't see why it couldn't go either direction. Yeah, cast off armor. You can don this armor as an action. Like light, medium, or I could see that. Like that's hilarious. You've got plate armor that has a zipper on it, and as soon as you unzip it, it's like soft cloth. Then you step back into it like it's footies, zip it up, and now it's solid again.
I picture Bruce Almighty that where Jim Carrey's like he's like when she's like, "Are you ready?" and he's just like, and he just throws himself forward, and all of his clothes get thrown off of him.
Just that lean back.
Yeah, yeah. Caleb, what is that? Exhaustion? Is that the thing for exhaustion?
Yep.
Oh,
Since we all took a level of exhaustion, we are all at disadvantage on ability checks, but I double checked and saves and attacks are not currently affected by that.
how far do you have to go in? How far do you have to go in exhaustion to actually for it to affect that?
Just to,
third level.
I think, third level.
Yeah, I think it's. I think anyway. I'm not looking at the book. I'm looking at something online, and it says level 2 is your speed is halved, and level 3 is disadvantage on attack rolls and saving throws.
You would think the first level of exhaustion would do the speed half thing, and the second one would do the disadvantage on ability checks.
I think what it is you're physically still capable, but this is a mental thing. And so you're not necessarily as good at, talking somebody into or out of something because you're fucking tired.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or loopy. Yeah.
So I have a question, and I've seen a video on this, and I want to ask my group about this. Do you think dark vision is OP?
Oh, I saw that video too.
Do you? Well, because I kind of understand why. Because a lot of people pick their races just to have dark vision, and I mean, I kind of miss the old school. The old school elf, the old school, it's like, I miss the old school. What is that? Low light vision. Like, I don't know why they just didn't use that.
Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry. Whew.
No, you're not. No, you're not. What the hell did you do? Run a marathon? Jesus, dude. He's like, whoa, Lord.
No, I only having one bathroom and having to take an elevator to go down 14 flights to the other to another bathroom. That is not fun. That is not fun.
I believe I would have told who's in the bathroom, move it or move it.
No.
Okay.
No, it doesn't work like that.
I'm gonna lose it.
That
unless it's the wife,
I'll
then
go
yes,
for
we'll
it.
go downstairs.
Should have told him you were turning into a werewolf.
I don't know. I don't know. With my grandson, that would have been right up his alley. It'd have been like his next thing would have been, "Can you bite me? Can I be a werewolf? Can I be Batman werewolf?"
I would have bit him. I would have just bit him and just been like, "Yes, I pass on the blessing to you," and just bite him.
I know it's about 10 o'clock, and I know most folks have to work. How's everybody going? Because I don't want to. I don't want to keep anybody.
I was planning on 11.
Oh, okay. All right. I was just making sure because I see what time it is, and I know people have to work in the morning. I forget.
D&D, we don't work.
Just
So you wait. Everybody wakes up stiff. It is not even not being able, not having to sleep, Mr. Silver. It was the most boring you've ever had of a night. Everybody is stiff, and muscles ache. But it's the captain comes and he unties. He's like, "Well, welcome to our fair city. Averbrook is open to you."
How much does an inn cost?
Well, that depends. Are you just wanting to? We got two. If you're just wanting to get drunk, there's the mixing horse. If you're wanting to have a place to drink and sleep, there's the leaning post inn.
You got any spare barracks that we might be able to take a nap in since we now have proven ourselves? Wouldn't that just be the best thank you that you've got? You could do that for us. We've proven ourselves not to be werewolves.
He and the one that was giving you water, he says, I don't have a barracks, but I have a barn. If you don't mind sleeping in a barn.
I'll find my way to an inn. So what are we doing? And then I'll look at everybody else. So do we get paid now that we're here?
Yes, what were the terms of our deal? Where did Bax go?
Oh, he's over there behind you, stretching because he had to stay.
Too, right?
Yeah, he was in a very vicarious position the whole night. And he's like, "Don't bother me now. Money, your money will be." I haven't forgot our deal. I'm going to find me a place to sleep unless I'll pay for your room. Just leave me alone right now.
Well, Sved, Enoch, Ark, want a drink?
Ark.
Sved looks at you, and he puts down a bottle. It's a little early to be drinking, but he's been drinking.
All night long.
Yeah. It didn't take the bottle away from me.
Charles Singer would kind of ignore the request to leave this guy alone. He would walk up to him and he would say, "You releasing us?"
He said, "Well, the contract was until we got here to Averbrook. I figure I'll hold y'all a little bit longer. I could show my true hospitality, and we can get a place to sleep and some drinks. But if you're just dead set on spending your own money," he starts reaching into his pouch, and he starts getting these little pouches. He says, he holds the pouches out. He says, "If you want to spend your own money, go for it. It's up to you."
Well, you who hired us, and well, me wonder if you got more.
I'll be staying here in Averbrook for quite a while. I don't. If you will, I can hire you if you want to when we start heading back to Nafala or maybe even to Thraben. But right now, I've got to stay here and make some money.
Well, we find soldiers, and I guess what Trollsinger will do is he'll look up at the guy that put us in here, and he'll point over at his pike and say, "Me fight. what you want me to do, I guess.
If you want to join the militia, he's like, that's fine. He's like, but most people after they come out of the stock want to sleep. But if you just want to keep working, we could sign you on the militia for a couple of silver a month and a place to stay.
So, I mean, Charlesing has been forced to march, overnight before. So while he's tired, it's daytime, and he would sort of say, "Sign me up," and he would go and grab his bike, and he would say, "Where do you want me?" basically, and he will work during the day, and he will sleep tonight. If this is what's happening, I mean, he's looking at these people that he's traveled with, and he's like shrugging, and he's like, "I've got no better to do."
No, Skewer. I've seen you in battle. You are worth way more than 2 silver. We can make more money together. Why don't you stay with me? With us?
Yes, us. And I'll smack Enoch. I lean into Enoch. It'd be good to have around. I mean, you're good around. You're good at moving. I'm good at trying to, make things easier. But if he's going to be a target, I say we let him.
Well, I'll just try to find what we're doing. I'm here now, and he's not hiring me today, so I want to do something with my time. And if you got an idea, if you want to go somewhere and need a guard, well, I'll guard for you. I just don't know what's next.
We'll find somewhere, buddy. What kind of city is Averbrook?
It's
big stone walls, but is it like a huge metropolis, or is it?
No, you'll find in this world that every city, village, or hamlet has built as about as good an impenetrable wall as they could. This is a good site. It's a town size. Averbrook is a town. It's
okay,
just
it's
got
not the capital or anything.
No. The capital of Kessig, I think, would be Lumberholt. And it's further away.
So Charles Singer would look at the guard again and say, "Well, we're here. Where might I find work? Or we?"
I bet that if we go and get a drink, there'll be somebody who wants to hire us. I mean, look at us. We're a pretty rough and tumble group, right?
Yes, I can. Sved wants to ask the militia guardsman, where's the place to get the most expensive drink in town?
The mixing horse, if you want to actually get the best quality, leaning post quantity.
Where do the landowners drink?
The leaning post.
All right.
A lot of, but it's more. I think it's more them trying to win, to catch the eye of Zenit than it is actual drinking. So
Alright, boys. Pick your poison.
I'll be at the leaning post if y'all want to take me up on my offer of buying y'all a drink and paying for y'all's room for the night.
To the leaning post.
Yes. That sounds brilliant.
To the leaning post.
I am dying to try the local wares.
Well, I'll come with.
Well, you have to go through the center of town. The leaning post is right off of where the trade did. A lot of the trade happened. The name is kind of deception. There's nothing that's leaning about the leaning post. Don't really. No, it's got like a little sign. It has a man that looks drunk leaned over a horse tie. You push your way in through the place, and it's mid upscale. It's not a dive. It actually has been furnished and seems to be taken care of with big metal braziers that are hanging from the set into the wall, and there's like a metal chandelier that hangs. During the daytime, it seems to be all the lights seems to be shut off, but the windows are big, tall windows and just pulled open. There's people moving around, getting ready for the to give people breakfast and all that. There's people moving for breakfast. There's people moving to clean from last night's drinking. The proprietor, she's a tall, olive-skinned woman with jet black hair and green eyes. Very striking, and very unique looking amongst all of the other people. She stands out amongst her dress is different. She this long sleeve top, it's cut off at the top, rounds her shoulders. It's like grays and blues. She sees that we have new people. Welcome to the leaning post. How may I help you? She's got her hands open to you, like welcoming you to her place.
I'll take a seat at the bar and say, what's the house special on drinks? Yes. Yes. That's what I would like.
She says, she kind of cocks her head. She says, you actually want some of our local ale, our local drinks.
Is it that bad?
Not many people want to come here to drink our local stuff. No, it's not bad. It's just you get tired of drinking your own stuff.
Well, then you're in luck because I am on a great quest, madam. I am Mr. Silver. You may have heard of Tavern Taberna. That's my tavern back home. You may have. If you haven't, you will. I'm currently on a grand quest to find the greatest drink to bring back home. So, I'd like a glass of your finest. Your specialty, please.
Our finest comes from Thraben. If you're wanting our local, that's not our finest, but it is a specialty.
Well, then the specialty is. I'll go to Thraven for their finest.
and she brings up this clay pot and sets it down and uses a knife and starts to cut it looks like the clay pot had been used and sealed. The clay had actually been closed over it. And she starts
I am
hitting.
super interested at this point.
She starts
already.
She starts hitting it to try to crack it. And then she takes this little metal strings and ties it around there, and she has to saw it off. She says, most people say the clay around here gives it flavor. So,
I agree. And I am looking for Enoch.
And when she pops the top off of it, it's very pungent. It's like if you're a connoisseur of cheese and eating Limburger. It smells like stuff has been set to it smells like it has set up too long. She kind of smells it a little bit, and she says, I think it's aged well enough. And she just pushes it, wrinkling in her nose. She says, let's say this one is on me.
Wonderful. And I will sniff it. Oh, it's pungent. Swirl it around a little bit. Eye it. And take a sip.
It definitely it tastes earthy. It's kind of like if you tried to mix vodka with whiskey. It burns. It's more burn than taste. You can see little things floating around, and it gives you something to chew on.
Okay. And I will be staying at the bar, just tasting the notes. Very curious more about this, trying to see if I'll chat her up to see if I can figure out what she's using to make it, because the taste is very, very strange. So that'll be it for me.
Okay. Anybody else? Enoch, Arcady, Sven, Trollsinger.
I'll have what he says is good, pointing at the trader that brought us here. He says he's going to shout, so I'll have what he thinks is good.
He says I'll have some storm wallow if you've got it. And we don't get me. She pulls out this bottle that's in this red. It's red, and she sets it onto the bar, and he picks it up. And he pulls the cork. She sets two mugs up there, and he pours one for him and one for you. He's up, bottoms up. You won't find better. It'll take the pain off. It's good for everything that ails you, and if you're stabbed.
All right. Don't mind if I do. And so I'll, without even trying to taste it, Trollsinger knows what it is to drink, and he just downs it. It hardly touches the sides.
You do get the taste of brine and copper. It has a very briny. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. Very kind to shout us a drink.
The other three? He's just looking at everybody, happy to have new faces in for a while.
Enoch would not be very picky. He would look for some sort of ale or beer or something like that.
Just simple. I like that. Simple.
And from his pack, he actually pulls out his own mug and he sits it on the bar.
She sets another. It's a smaller clay cup up there, and she says, "If you want to drink it from the clay cup, you can, or you can pour it in your cup." She says, "That'll be a silver piece."
And he looks over at the guy who's paying for the drink. Says, "Put it on his tab."
And he, sitting there nodding as he's filling his cup and Trollsinger's cup up with this strange-looking blue-green liquid that's kind of thick. Now looking at it, it's kind of thick. So then, Arcadian?
Just a piece of whatever you've got to eat.
Geez, you'll have to wait a
Got my own
minute.
drink.
You'll have to wait. We had a bit of a scuffle with some of the local lumberjacks, and the food has been strewn across the floor and had to be thrown out. So if you'll give us a minute,
Of course.
I can have you some food arranged. She'll look at Arcadian.
That sounds wonderful. And where is our room? Bex did set up a room for us already, correct?
And he seems to be in his cup. He's like, I haven't gotten to that yet. He's like, but yes, I would like a sweet and a couple
Not
of
the sweet, of course.
He's like, I'll take a couple of double rooms for these gentlemen.
Did you say that you had trouble with some gruff folk lumberjacks? You said maybe you need someone to take care of them, teach them a lesson.
Jesus, just boys being boys. They were paid, and they decided that my place was the best place to try to ride an Auroch. It'll be okay.
Well, if you say so.
And she turns back to Arcadian.
He's all this time. He's what's the atmosphere of this place?
Waking up after a long bender.
So it's like kind of like boring.
Well, yeah.
Nothing. And he sits there, and the more he sits there, he's kicking is bouncing his foot on the, and the silence is just the thing. I was just getting me. He goes, no, this will never do. This will never do. And when he walks by, he grabs his loot and he says, no. He's like, this place needs some life. It's like, God. I says, Jesus, there's more life out in the woods. And he quickly goes through all the songs that he knows. And do I know of a particular song that is real popular amongst the locals? Something that'll make them, something that'll liven the place up a little bit.
With it being Kessig, they're very traditional, so they do appreciate good music.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing really comes to your mind that's going to make just everybody come out.
No. I mean, just something like a traditional Kessig song, something like that. Just very traditional.
Oh yeah, the Wolf and the Huntsman.
Oh, I says, well, I says, this is a local. I says, sing along if you know the words. And I play the wolf and the huntsman.
For sure, you would see Enoch singing along because he knows the words.
Oh yeah.
I would turn around, whip out my sham, and from the bar, I would join in playing the melody.
I think the sham is, and so Enoch gives Conan a look as he pulls it out, and he kind of shakes his head no, and he goes ahead and starts to play it. And I'm going to take control here. A lot of the bar kind of turns and looks as the sound of this sham starts to come through, and Enoch just puts his hand up to the front of it, as the sham is not a traditional Kessig instrument. He's like, "What are you doing? You are disgracing this song." And he kind of covers it, and he's like, "Not today. It's too early for this." And then he goes back right into song.
I'm like, all right. As soon as he goes back into song, I shrug, and I'll sing it with him.
You know,
Waving my sham in the air, singing.
Mr. Silver, I'll give you a point of inspiration for sham shaming.
Sweet. I accept it.
Hey, so is this what you're saying is the Shawshank redemption?
Maybe.
There's not been any redemption mentioned at all.
And nobody said nothing about no.
Oh, is it the Shawshank? What is it called? Yeah, it is the redemption. Okay, yeah. That was Shawshank Redemption or whatever.
It's only a matter of time here before Andy breaks out.
Yeah, I know.
Dupresne? Yeah.
What about Duke Resney?
I'm being silly. It's spelled Dufresne. His name's Dufresne.
Oh, okay. I was okay. So, having y'all drank, you, Mr. Silver, you think you may have some of her ingredients that this is, and she actually finally admits that she's not the brewer. The man who brews it for her gives it is the one that does all the brewing, and it's a family secret that he's claimed he will never part with. So she can't tell you exactly what it's made of.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay, they appreciate the wolf and the huntsman. You see, you change the place a little bit where it was just sleepy and just like, oh, we don't want to see bright lights or whatever. People are actually started to have a more. They seem to be working at a pace now, almost kind of like a half dance. While you're playing the wolf and the huntsman. Huzzah!
So Trollsinger will notice that these people are looking a little bit more lively, and he'll start just going up to people and saying, he's screening for work. So he's just going around and saying, well, I'm new and I'm looking for work. And he'll just, I'm with these men, fine people, and we came with a merchant, and he not iron right now, and we want something to do. Well, I do. Don't know about the rest of them doing their drinking, but and he'll just, talk and try and find out what's going on around town if they need extra hands and stuff like that.
Well, the young dude that you have caught, he is you kind of scare him a little bit, just come out of nowhere, and he was like, well, the Burbanes have put up a bounty if someone could find out who has murdered his son. If you want to look into that, our city guard hasn't been able to do it. We sent for an inquisitor, and he couldn't find it. We haven't been able to find it, and there's been 3 more people that have been killed. If you're just looking for work and you don't care to wait a little bit, you could go see Arnold Brabane, and he might hire you.
Well, talk with the others and see what they say.
He's okay. He just it's like he kind of backs away.
Yeah, like Trollsinger doesn't really notice. He doesn't really care how people are scared or whatever. He just like whatever, and goes and sort of sits at a table where the most people that he's come with are along with the merchant or whatever, and he pulls people around and says, well, I heard about some murders going on around town. Maybe we could solve them and get some pay, or maybe we might find some heads to kick in. We just got to speak with Bovane. Bovane, Arnold was his name, Bovane. What do you think?
Mr. Silver, I need you to roll me a Constitution save. And
Okay. Cool. Where is it? Off of this one drink?
it's very,
Yeah.
very,
Okay.
very.
That's a 7.
You're feeling it. You're not like end over end drunk, but you're definitely, this place just got a lot better. The fact that they stopped you from playing the sham doesn't really bother you anymore.
Cool.
You're kind of buzzed. Not full, you're not drunk, not impaired, just, everything is right.
All right. This was a dandy drink. Not one I want to try to replicate, however, but dandy drink.
Yeah.
I think that Enoch would be interested in what Skewer was talking about. They'd lean over, and Patience has brought us good tidings. This could be for the best. Should we, it is still early in the day, should we find him and see what it is that troubles him, that we might lighten his pockets?
Well, I'm itching to do something. Don't mind me, what?
And What about you, Sved? Is it too early in the day for you?
No. Um, Anything's better than this noise. I mean, music. Um, let's find these verbains.
Oh,
And I think the next thing that Enoch would do is he would be like, all right, let me see if I cannot go get a friend off the stage. And he would kind of walk over to where Ark was playing, and he would walk up, but he would, the closer he gets, you can see him kind of jiving with the music, and he doesn't cut him off in the middle of the song or anything. He lets him sit there, and he sees some people kind of singing around, and he like joins in with a line or two every once in a while. And then when the song's over, he claps, and he kind of like motions to Ark saying, hey, we might have something.
Seeing him be in motion, he licks the loot drop to his side, and he kind of shifts it on over using the strap to hold it to his back. And I go, "Yes'm."
It seems as though we may have some opportunities coming our way.
What kind of opportunity?
That is what we intend to find out. We are going to go meet with a Mr. Verbain and see if there's anything we can do to lighten his load and his coffers.
Money. Gotcha. So I pat him on the back. I go, yeah, sure. I says, but we still might want to rest once we figure out get all the info on this, whatever task our scores come up with, or found for us.
I agree. One of the, and we're kind of walking back over, and he's talking to you. One of the potential opportunities is involving murders, which I believe we can all agree normally happens at night. We may still be able to get ourselves a nice rest in after we speak. So perhaps we should find him. And he sits back down at the table, says,
yeah,
I have filled in
Ark.
Ark.
I'll walk and I'll sit down and start putting away my stuff, getting ready to move on.
what was you gonna say, Caleb?
Nothing. It just that I had told him that was roughly our plan.
Okay.
That we were going to go find the guy and see if he couldn't tell us what opportunities might be out there and figure out when the best time to investigate or whatever.
It doesn't take very long to actually get any kind of information on where to find the Verbains. They are a kind of an old family here, along with a few other ones. They quickly can point you into the way to find their house. It's like an oak wood house that seems to have been painted years ago, but the paint has chipped away and started to actually fall off. The high gate is part metal, part wood, just put together with whatever it could have been found in the beginning. There's a guard that's stationed out there. When he sees you, he actually holds his hands up and he says, "Who goes there?"
Well, just before we get there, I just want to make sure that Cornan heard about what was going on and was going to come. Basically, Trollsinger would go up to him and say, "Well, you've got a pretty face. Maybe you can be the person that speaks with him, and maybe because you got a pretty face, he might pay us more. Who knows?
Well, I really appreciate that. But I'm really not thinking that he's gonna take well from me right now. Excuse me. And like the smell is toxic, and the clay pot is still half full.
So Troll will go, well, that's all right. You can put her along after us then.
We could do this maybe midday. We do have a man offering to pay for our rooms. Ooh.
This is, would you like to hang back and let us go inquire? Because we're just going to go, from what I understand, we're just going to go see what's up. We're not, or we're going to go see what the deal is with this whole murder ploy. Because apparently there's been a murder.
Oh, that's bad business. Well, again, just it is morning. The sun's barely been up for an hour, and and you want to approach somebody about a murder at breakfast?
He just kind of shrugs. I says, it seems like everyone was. I says, me personally, I could use with laying down and resting. I says, because I'm still feeling the effects of the stockade, and I about used what little bit of goodwill energy I had entertaining the bar. I think we.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, bro.
Oh, okay. I look at you and my eyebrows raise, really thinking this over. And I look over to Enoch. Do we want to bother a man at breakfast about a murder?
Resolution for this man with haste is likely what would make him the most excited. However, friend, he kind of smiles. Are you tired?
No. And I'll put my hands on the bar and push back from the stool. Stand up. Let's go talk to this man.
Zenith says, "Do you want to? You want me to hold on to that, or do you want to take that with you?"
Oh no, I have had enough.
Throw it away.
Oh yeah, the scent has started to actually circulate into the place, and the closer you get, the worse it smells. She does not even. Yeah, it's like you didn't say nothing but a word. She just throws it out. She gives it to someone else, and they take it and with haste get it out.
I think as Enoch stands up, he stretches, and you see him actually yawn. He says, perhaps it would be best if we do rest. And you can see him kind of like messing with his neck. And he says, in your state, I'm not sure either of you would be in a very good opportunity to speak to the Burbane. Fully rested with your wares and your wiles, we may be in a better position.
Throw my hand up again. Enoch speaks truth. Rome.
She says it gives y'all. She holds it out for anyone that says this is room number 2. It's a double. Number 3, and I mean she's just holding the keys out for whoever wants them.
I'll take one.
I'll take a double.
Yeah.
And she holds up, and she walks and gives Bax his sweet key, and you tiredly walk up the floor. Some of you, it's a bit of a thing because you had to drink strange ale and weird liquor, but you find yourselves in your own little rooms that y'all have. Some of y'all have to pair up.
That's all right. I'd be with Enoch.
And we will call it a night. This has been Galaxy Radio. We will see you later.
All right. See you guys.
Let's run the game.